Good afternoon, Pokésports, and welcome to another tier list video. In today's tier list, we're going to be looking at arguably, some people love this typing, but arguably the worst typing in Pokemon ever. Bug typing doesn't have a lot of great offensive, doesn't have a lot of great defensive. It's kind of just that type, man. It's that type that constantly gets bullied, constantly gets undermined, but looking through this list, there are some decent bug types that do fulfill some sort of role in the competitive metagame, so let's go ahead and see what those are. Starting at the top of the list, the best of the best bug type Pokemon. This was a little bit difficult for me to go ahead and choose because originally I wanted to say Scizor, but Scizor actually hasn't been seeing too much competitive play this generation with the added psychic terrain and, you know, the added steel types that just kind of do what Scizor does better, like Zacian. So I'm hesitant to put Scizor on S tier for now. I guess we'll see how the rest of the list ends up, you know, fitting together. But I think a solid S tier is going to be Volcarona. Now, Volcarona has taken the metagame by storm. Unfortunately, as of now, Volcarona is less used because Volcarona was a really good buddy to have next to the Xerneas, because what Volcarona would inevitably do is redirect the Behemoth Blades that Zacian wants to do to Xerneas onto itself. And on top of that, also has a chance of Flame Body, potentially burning the Zacian as well. Along with that, also gets cool things like Quiver Dance. It has very high special attack. It's a very unique typing, you know, fire and bug. There aren't too many of those running around. So I think just that in general, Volcarona is super S tier and can definitely be used to fit multiple scenarios. It's a great faster option for, you know, an Amoonguss on your team, for example. Now, speaking of bottom of the bottom, we're unfortunately have to give our ladybug friend Ledian put Ledian down here. Ledian doesn't do anything, guys. It does get Technician, but even on top of its cool ability, it has like one of the lowest attack stats in the game. So very hard to justify using Ledian ever. Also not a great typing. Bug and Flying, okay typing, not phenomenal because bugs don't care about ground anyway. But I get it. Flies have wings, so they should be flying. But yeah, that's kind of where our tier list goes to. From Volcarona to Ledian, everything else in between. Let's see what our in between is. I'm looking for a solid A tier bug type. Solid A tier. Not something you'd see every single day, but not something you'd see every, you know, something that you would see every once in a while. And I think a very solid bug type to put in that tier, I'm going to say Araquinid. I don't think Araquinid is S tier bug type. I do feel like its ability with Water Bubble and, you know, its special defense, the way it stands, does give it that sort of competitive edge above other bug type Pokemon. I would also warrant to say Durant with Dynamax is definitely A tier. I wouldn't consider it S tier because it's not seeing use right now, because we have Zacian also. But it has seen a lot of play. People have built whole teams around this Pokemon. And a hustle Durant Dynamax in front of your face, not missing any move and getting like 1.5 times damage with a Life Orb is gonna hurt because Durant already has very high attack above all else. So that's a threat. Definitely a threat. So, but like I said, not being seen right now, won't put it in A tier. It kind of struggles in restricted metas anyway. Let's go looking at the bottom of the list. I feel like there are a couple of bottom of the barrels here that we want to just get out of the way and stick them there. Like Illumise and Volbeat. Like, what do these two Pokemon actually do? A solid B tier, I will put Shedinja. I will definitely put Shedinja in solid B tier because if you can play it intelligently, that's the thing with Shedinja. You have to play intelligently, something I'm not good at doing. So I tend to not stick Shedinja on my team. But if you play intelligently and you knock out all of the Pokemon that have moves that Shedinja are weak to, and you can get yourself in a situation where you knock those Pokemon out and your opponent is left with a bunch of non-super effective moves and you still have a Shedinja right in the back, you won the game. You won the game. And also Shedinja gets annoying things like Ally Switch, gets annoying things like Will-O-Wisp. Shadow Sneak does have priority just to compensate for it being, you know, 1 HP point. But I think if you play a Shedinja well, Shedinja can do you wonders. I'm going to go ahead and stick Ariados in the D tier. I feel like Ariados is kind of just a sticky web mon. It's just a worse Galvantula, which I will actually put in the C tier. I feel like this is a decent a decent rundown of what we're looking at in terms of strengths of the Pokemon and whatnot. Butterfree, I think, is solid B tier as well. Butterfree can make things happen, man. Butterfree has compoundized sleep powder, has focus sash, can help trick room setups. But this right here is a trick room sweeper. Now, what's cool about the Escavalier is that Escavalier actually has access to overcoat, which means powder moves won't work against it, which means you can't sleep it. And on top of that, Bug Steel type is probably the only good combination for Steel. I feel like that because there are a lot of Bug Steel types, and the reason for that, and what you'll be seeing on this list, the Bug Steel types will kind of take over the top section of the list because the Steel helps compensate all the weaknesses that Bugs have, while, you know, still sacrificing the 4x weakness to fire. Thankfully, there aren't too many fire types in the game, but, you know, that's just the give and take there. I think I want to look closer to the bottom, see what belongs in that tier. I'll put Golisopod here in C tier. Golisopod can be good if you turn off its ability with Wheezing. That's the only thing going for it. So, if that somehow fails, you kind of wasted 2 Pokemon on your team. So that's just something to keep in mind. That's why I'm not putting Golisopod higher, is because you require turning off your ability some form, because your ability is not great. Emergency exit, you know, you can set up all you want, but the second you get half HP, you have to leave. Kind of sucks, especially in Dynamax meta, because if you're going to Dynamax, you better commit to Dynamax. If you're going to Dynamax and get brought down to half HP, guess what? You got to leave. You burnt a Dynamax, which you only get once per game. So that's a big scary thought there. That's why I'm not putting Golisopod higher on this list. I understand it's stronger than Ariados, which is why I don't want to put it in D tier. But that's my thought process with that. Pokemon like Kricketune, I'll give a D tier. I don't think Kricketune can accomplish much. Beautifly, kind of a similar situation. Dustox, similar situation. I don't want to put them in D tier because these 3 are just absolute trash. And these at least can maybe win in an in-game battle sometime. Paris, I'm going to give a C tier. Paris does have Spore, one of the few Spore users. And on top of that, also does have access to Dry Skin, which ironically makes it very good against Kyogre. Why aren't more people using Paris now that I'm thinking about it? It's like, oh, wait. That's like kind of a pretty hard counter to Kyogre if we think about it. Kyogre can't touch it at all. I might have a Paris on the team later this week. But anyway, hey, Paris, I actually, now that I'm speaking, I think Paris deserves to be in B tier. I don't think Paris is as bad as Golisopod by any means. So, Paris, enjoy. You got a nice little boost the second I started thinking a little bit harder about you. Rabombi, I will put in C tier. I feel like Rabombi didn't do the thing that Game Freak wanted it to do. Mothim, I'll put in D tier. Not impressed by Mothim. Masquerain, I'm gonna put C tier as well. Masquerain is only good because it gets Intimidate. It's very one-dimensional in the sense. So I think C tier is a nice place for it. It's not bad because it does get Intimidate, but at the same time, if that's the only thing you have going for it, you probably don't deserve to be higher than average. Vikavolt is strong, though. Vikavolt is a truck. I feel bad because I don't think more people realize how hard Vikavolt hits. It has a Levitate and it's Electric type, which is kind of decent. And on top of that, it has like base 145 attack, special attack. The only thing bad going for it is the fact that it has poor speed. But hey, you run it in Trick Room. Who cares? It's supposed to be slow. Only the slow folks go here. So I think, you know, there's a lot of hidden potential with a Vikavolt. A lot of hidden potential. Now, I'm going to go and stick Genesect in A tier. I'm going to be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with Genesect, which is why I don't want to put it in S tier. I do remember that in Generation 5 and Generation 6, Genesect was kind of a big deal in singles. I don't know whether that's the case right now, considering Incineroar exists. But, hey, I think you could dubiously drive it to victory. Sure. Let's stick with the Bug Steel types here. Forretress. I give Forretress a solid B. Maybe even a C. Probably a C. Forretress can set up rocks. Forretress can rapid spin rocks. And Forretress can explode. It only does those 3 things. So I guess it does belong in B. Those are 3 very useful things, to be entirely honest. And then back to Steel types. I think I want to give Scizor S tier. Because I do believe Scizor is better than Escavalier. It's better than Durant, maybe. And it's better than Genesect. Scizor, you know, Technician Bullet Punches. It's really hard to argue with that. They hurt so bad. Are those two going to remain the only two in S tier? Maybe. Who knows? Let's find out. Shuckle. Shuckle's very annoying. I think Shuckle's a B tier because Shuckle can set up its defenses, can split their defenses with the Chansey. The Chansey can raise its evasion. It's absolutely gross. I wouldn't recommend using it because I don't want to play against it. That's a please don't use it is what I'm trying to say. So let's go ahead and stick Shuckle in the B tier. I do believe it's better than Forretress though. There's kind of a weird discrepancy here between B and C. It almost feels like there should be a B.5 or a C.5 or C plus tier. But let's leave it like this for now. Vespiquen, I don't see Vespiquen doing anything. Vespiquen is the only cool Pokemon because it gets unique moves like Attack Order and Defend Order, but beyond that, it just goes down to like a Flamethrower. It's nothing impressive. Scolipede, I will say, is probably B tier. Scolipede with Speed Boost makes it super original and like a Pokemon that has Speed Boost is unique in that sense. Along with that, you could also set up, you know, Rapid Spin with a Whirlipede if you really wanted to not evolve and go with an Eevee-like Whirlipede. You could set up Toxic Spikes. It does have a lot of options in singles as well. Not so many options in doubles simply because, you know, bug types really aren't that prevalent in doubles. But, you know, can definitely make a certain niche happy. Buzzwole, I will give a solid A tier as well. I feel like Buzzwole was only really used when the Ultra Beasts were added onto the list of legal Pokemon in VGC. And Buzzwole was always kind of annoying to break through. If you didn't have a flying type move, you weren't KOing this Pokemon. Because you could just set up your defenses. You can go for like a coaching strat. People were using coaching with Buzzwole and then Dynamaxing Buzzwole and then running weakness policy or running Copa Berry. It was a little annoying to deal with, if my memory serves me correctly. I don't know if you guys remember that as well, but I definitely do, and I wasn't enjoying it too much. Or Beedrill. Or Beedrill. I mean, it's interesting because it gets a G-Max form. It's interesting because the G-Max form introduces a gravity terrain, I guess. That's different. But by itself, it really only sets Trick Room, right? I guess you can run like a weakness policy thing going with it, but even if you break the weakness policy, you're not doing any damage. At least my experience with Orbeetle, you're not doing any damage pretty much the whole game. So I'll stick it in a C tier. Crustle with Shell Smash can be irritating. Shell Smash Crustle can outspeed and go for Rock Slides really, really nicely. And it's so, you know, devious because you're pretty much guaranteed a Shell Smash because you have Sturdy. The only, you know, instance where that wouldn't happen is if you get doubled into or if you get fake outed. Heracross, not too impressive, honestly. I feel like Pinsir suffers a similar fate. They kind of do the similar things and they don't do it right. I mean, Heracross is cool because it does have the added fighting type. Pinsir is just kind of by itself. But I mean, all in all, they're the same Pokemon and they don't make the cut. They can, honestly, they're probably down here with Golisopod. I do think they're both better than these flying things. They're better than Kricketune is what I'm trying to say. Venomoth, another C tier. Yeah, another C tier. It does get access to Sleep Powder, which is kind of cool, but that's pretty much the only reason why it's above these guys. Beedrill is underwhelming. Beedrill I'll put in D tier because it's not as bad as an Illumise, but it is so underwhelming unless you get Mega is going, because you lose adaptability, so you're really doing absolutely no damage. In fact, I wouldn't hesitate to put it in F tier, but you know, for the sake of this video, I'll put it in D tier just to give a little respect to my boy. Armaldo is weird, man. C tier? Maybe. Yeah, C tier. People don't use Armaldo. It does get Swift Swim, which makes it a little bit cooler than the rest of the C tier. So I'll put it top of C. Centiskorch has been seeing some play, especially in Series 11, so I think Centiskorch can earn a respectable A tier, if not beginning of A tier. It's really good against Zacian, which is why people are running it. Zacian can't touch it at all. Zacian resists both of their stabs, and yeah, it can Dynamax. It can go for It can use a Binding Band, which got buffed this generation, and then do 1 6 damage health after its G-Max move. Hey, that's something. That's really something. So, Centiskor's respect. You definitely stepped up this last season. A Selgor, I think another A tier. A Selgor feels pretty good. It doesn't get Final Gambit, so it's a good, like, go in and die, but, you know, take something down with you Pokemon. It's a good revenge killer as well. But it's kind of the Pokemon you go in, you sacrifice itself, and then you try to make the rest of the field go in your momentum, hopefully with a strong backline or a good switch in. Yanmega, I'd say B. Yanmega doesn't impress me too much. It does also get speed boost, but that's pretty much the only thing that makes it good. So I'll go ahead and put it alongside Scolipede. They're the same Pokemon. Similar things for Ninjask, except I think Ninjask is a C tier because it just does it worse than these two. Frostmoth. I wish Frostmoth was better, but it underwhelms me. I do think it's pretty good because it does have very high special defense, but its typing is so god-awful that even with high special defense, it doesn't matter, man. It really doesn't matter. You could sneeze an ember on this thing, it'll melt the second it hits it. But, got one more Pokemon left on the bug type tier list. And I think where I want to put Pheromosa is definitely S tier, just because of versatility. Pheromosa is so versatile. It gets high jump kick, it gets a lunge, it gets ice beam, it gets coaching, it gets, you know, speed swap for speed swapping something to give Pheromosa speed. Like I used to speed swap, I used to love going for a coaching on my Calyrex Ice and then speed swapping it the following turn if I still was on the field after my Focus Sash broke. And then giving Calyrex Ice a +1 in defense, +1 in attack, and then giving it like base 139 speed or base 140, whatever it is. It's ridiculously high. Yeah, that sounds very broken because it kind of is. It's a great support mod and people really don't give it enough credit. So respect to Pheromosa. This is the bug type tier list. If you guys think I did this right, let me know down below in the comment section if you guys would have changed something on this list. Also, let me know down below. And if you guys are excited for some Pokemon Legends Arceus, go ahead, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already so that you don't miss a single upload of Pokemon Legends Arceus here on the channel. Anyways, I'm Kevin, this is Pokésports. Have a great night. Peace out.